Iran announced today that they plan to impose a tax of $1 on every barrel of oil passing through the Strait of Hormuz. This was reported by Middle East Spectator on Telegram. The Islamic Republic will rake in an extra $7.3 billion per year once a peace agreement has been reached. For now, the Strait of Hormuz remains closed after today's Israeli strikes on Lebanon. There's a lot to be said about the Iran ceasefire with the U.S., and it's not a ceasefire. Look at Lebanon. Look at the Lavon oil refinery that was targeted in Iran. Look at the fact that Israel's sending Hermes 900 drones into Iranian airspace. Look at the fact that Trump has violated point 6 of the deal, saying that Iran will not be allowed to have any sort of uranium enrichment. I have critiqued the process. I've critiqued the fact that this was even agreed to for let alone 1 second. They agreed to it for almost 24 hours, right? I have critiqued this relentlessly, and I think it was a terrible decision. And I think that everyone should follow the words of Ayatollah Khamenei, the martyr, who said that it is neither wise, intelligent, or honorable to negotiate with Trump and the U.S. I think that's what we should all understand right now. Very well. But I will say that there's one point that is very important that we should all take away from the events of the past 24 hours. It's that despite whatever's going on, the U.S. did need a moment to breathe. They did need time. They needed to buy time. They needed to buy time to send troops, to send more interceptor missiles, to rearrange themselves, to reshuffle, to do whatever needed to be done. I don't know what they're doing, but clearly they've got some sort of a plan in place where they wanted to buy 2 weeks' time. Okay? Despite that, the Iranian regime still stands tall. Despite that, the Iranian ballistic missile program is still fully intact and very strong. Despite that, the Iranian nuclear program and uranium enrichment is still intact and strong. Okay? But most importantly, Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz is fully within their hands. Okay? Now, the White House spokesperson, Catherine Levitt, or whatever her name is, she came out and said this about 2 hours ago. Sorry, let me share the audio with you.
Iran could no longer tolerate being bombed or taking the gamble of what was to come following President Trump's 8 p.m. deadline last night. Iran has agreed to open the Strait of Hormuz, and as the president said, we have received a proposal from the Iranians that has been determined to be a workable basis on which to negotiate.
Well, lots of lies in that statement. Most of it is not even worth responding to. She did say one truthful thing, though. Iran did open the Strait of Hormuz for 10 minutes. She said this at, 8 p.m. local time in Iran. In the morning hours, I guess, yes, Iran did agree to open the Strait of Hormuz, and they did it for about 10 minutes. And they also said that they were going to be charging a toll of $1 for every, barrel of oil that crosses the Strait of Hormuz. So, I mean, yes, technically they did agree to open the Strait of Hormuz for 10 minutes, and then it closed back again. In fact, only four ships were allowed to pass the Strait of Hormuz today, the lowest number so far in the entire month of April. That's according to S&P Global. More than 20 hours after Iran was supposed to have, immediately opened the Strait, today was actually the lowest amount of ships that crossed the Strait of Hormuz in this entire month. Now, J.D. Vance, Trump, Levitt, they're all saying the same thing to try and lower oil prices to the best of their ability for however long this ceasefire lasts. And that's why they're saying, no, it's open, there's ships and It's like, no, there's no ships, there's no nothing, it's closed. This is from the head of Iranian Parliament's National Security and Foreign Policy Committee after the strikes on Lebanon took a very, very devastating turn with 300 plus reportedly martyred in afternoon attacks. He said after the Israeli aggression on Lebanon, all plans to open the Strait of Hormuz must immediately cease until there are assurances that Lebanon is included in the ceasefire. The brothers and the Lebanese resistance fought alongside us. given martyrs for the cause and been our dear allies and suffered through enough oppression and hardship. There's either a ceasefire on all fronts or a ceasefire nowhere at all. This is from Fars news agency. Oil tanker traffic through the Strait of Hormuz halted and amid continued Israeli attacks on Lebanon. So in the afternoon hours, it was completely shut down in its entirety, the Strait of Hormuz. Today, also, Iran announced that this was 5:48 p.m., or actually 6:18 p.m. local time in Iran. Iran officially closes the Strait of Hormuz until further notice due to Israel's attacks on Lebanon. That's from Fars news agency. Even Fox News was reporting this simple fact in the late evening hours local time in Iran. Take a listen.
Harris, good morning. We start with breaking news. State media reports that Iran has halted the passage of oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz after Israeli attacks on Hezbollah in Lebanon. Earlier today, we know 2 vessels were able to go through this passageway. But again, state media is reporting that the Iranians are choking off the strait. I just got off the phone with a senior Israeli official who was sounding the alarm about this action by the Iranians, saying only just a few hours into this ceasefire, the Iranians are already showing that they are trying to leverage their control over the strait and put pressure on global energy trade. And it also comes after reports overnight indicate that an Iranian attack hit Saudi Arabia's east to west oil pipeline.
Yeah, enough of the propaganda. Obviously, Iran's, Lavon oil refinery got targeted first, but let's not mention that, right? So they say that 2 oil tankers got through the Strait of Hormuz today. S&P reports 4 oil tankers got through the Strait of Hormuz today. Either way, it's the lowest amount of the entire month. And it just so happens that one of the oil tankers that we know of, which managed to cross the Strait of Hormuz, was the Aurora oil tanker. That's its ship name, Aurora, which flies the Panamanian flag. But it's not a Panamanian ship. It is subject to U.S. Treasury Department sanctions for transporting Iranian oil. This ship returned to the Persian Gulf before crossing over the Strait of Hormuz. And, okay, there you go. So the ships that are crossing are literally just crossing with Iranian oil. That's about it. Now, Iranian Navy also confirmed we have closed the Strait of Hormuz, and currently only Iranian ships and ships coming from Iran are passing through it. Now, this is where things got really interesting. Iran announced today that they plan to impose a tax of $1 on every barrel of oil passing through the Strait of Hormuz. This was reported by Middle East Spectator on Telegram. The Islamic Republic will rake in an extra $7.3 billion per year once a peace agreement has been reached. For now, the Strait of Hormuz remains closed after today's Israeli strikes on Lebanon. Now, I say that they'll have $7.3 billion in revenue from this once a peace agreement is reached. But for the time being, as long as the war continues, they're going to get a lot more than that. As of right now, Iran is charging reportedly $2 million in tolls as long as the war goes on and there's a complex security situation for every ship that passes the Strait of Hormuz, which it has been doing for the past month. So if they did this every day for an entire year, hypothetically, if that's how much they can charge these companies for a year as long as the war goes on and there's these heightened prices, that would be $96 billion for the entire year, which would be a 20% increase in Iran's annual GDP, which is obviously insane, and no country on the face of the earth has ever had an year-over-year annual GDP increase even close to that. Now, former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev, he put out a statement today. The Russians are the only ones who are saying the ceasefire is not going to last, blah, blah, blah. I've seen several Russians come out and, call balls and strikes quite well regarding this, and that the U.S. is just amassing troops and sending more interceptor missiles. The Russians will not be fooled. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev also said this: Iran has tested its nuclear weapons. It is called the Strait of Hormuz. Its potential is inexhaustible. Medvedev doesn't miss. Another great tweet from Dmitry Medvedev. You'll love to see it. And even U.S. senators who have been condemning Donald Trump for this disastrous war are pointing out the fact that even if they had ended the war today, This is still a historic failure for the U.S. and Donald Trump. Chris Murphy, obviously pro-war, genocidal fanatic Chris Murphy, right? He said Donald Trump has essentially agreed to give Iran control over the Strait of Hormuz. That is extraordinary. If this agreement indeed gives Iran the right to control the strait, that is cataclysmic for the world. Donald Trump took a military action that has apparently, at least for the time being, given Iran control over a critical waterway they did not have control of before the war began. Well, I mean, kind of true. It's not really Donald Trump's to give, though, right? Not at all. Donald Trump doesn't give them anything. Iran allowed the world to use it freely, as did Oman. And now, from this point onward, there will be a new security architecture and regulation framework that governs any transit through the Strait of Hormuz. And it is going to cost everyone, and Iran and Oman will be the main parties who benefit. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support, because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support.